This vehicle has a really bad reputation for reliability. And that is basically an incomplete statement. The correct wording is, this vehicle is unreliable because it is so difficult to fix. So this is not really a hard bolt, okay? It just takes a couple of anti-Toyota tools.
Got it latched on the magnet.
Okay, we are one bolt heavy. Remember guys, this is not a space shuttle. If you find an additional bolt, world's not gonna end. I told you that's out of a different era, okay? That's when Yuri Gagarin went into space the first time. That's when I dropped this bolt. Okay, the vehicle is losing coolant. Very little bit, but it's losing coolant. We do get a lot of questions. What is the problem if the TDV6 is losing coolant? And there are really only 3 reasons, okay? Other than that you got a busted hose and a big puddle on the floor, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a slow coolant leak where you don't see any coolant on the floor. So the coolant is usually burned or evaporating. Take this cover out. The most likely cause if you lose coolant is right here in the V. It's called the coolant manifold. Some people call it the thermostat housing, but that's not true because there is no thermostat in it. The coolant manifold is made out of plastics and it splits apart right there where it is glued together or welded together, seam welded. And then you basically see your coolant residue here right in the V when you light inside. The second most likely cause if the vehicle is losing coolant and there is no puddle on the floor, which you can photograph and post a picture on Facebook asking, hey, did anybody ever have this before? Is if you have a leaky EGR valve cooler. The EGR valves are basically routing exhaust gases back into the intake. And before they get to the intake, they are routed through a cooler. And that cooler is connected to the coolant system. So if there is a leak, the exhaust gases will take on coolant vapor and transport that into the intake and the vehicle will burn it. In an extreme case, you will have basically white smoke at the back of your exhaust. Now the third cause for a potential slow coolant leak is of course the head gasket. If you have a head gasket issue, most likely there will be other severe symptoms, like you would get oil into your coolant reservoir, or you would open your oil filler cap and it would be brownish on the inside, and so on. So most likely we do not have to deal with a head gasket issue. This vehicle has a really bad reputation for reliability. And that is basically an incomplete statement. I'm not saying this vehicle is reliable. The correct wording is, this vehicle is unreliable because it is so difficult to fix. That's the reason. If it would be easy to fix, most people would just fix the problem and then it would be good and it would not be mentioned. But anything going wrong on this vehicle is usually ending up in a big debacle and people destroy other things while they try to fix one thing. If we say this engine is difficult to fix, there are 2 countermeasures against this. And the one countermeasure is access and the other countermeasure is tools. If you don't have that, don't touch that vehicle, don't buy it, and don't write us emails if you can buy one with 410,000 miles on it, and if we think it's a good deal. It's the same as if you would write us, hey, you know what? I'm not smoking my entire life. Do you recommend that I start now? That's the question you're asking us. And you expect an answer like, oh yeah, you can smoke, okay? It's not gonna do any harm. That's what we would have to tell you if we say, yes, go ahead, buy a Discovery 3 with 410,000 miles on the clock. You're gonna develop quickly serious heart problems. You're gonna get a couple of bypasses. You have a few strokes, okay? Your legs suddenly don't work anymore and you get blind on one eye. That's the least you can expect if you get one of those vehicles. The Toyota driver who wants to buy a 410,000 kilometer car, he would phrase that question completely differently. He would say, hey, I'm smoking my entire life, basically Marlboro. Do you guys think it's okay if I change over now to Camel and at the same time maybe reduce my consumption from 2 boxes a day to 2 cigarettes a day? And then we can say, yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Please do not put us in that spot. This is just not fair because we have to give you a negative answer and you don't want to get up in the morning and give people a negative answer like, oh no, Don't buy that. That's not a good deal. I wouldn't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. So we're gonna tackle now this EGR valve cooler with access and tools, and I hope
You'll enjoy the video.
very well.
How am I supposed to? I wanted to say something about the Toyota driver. So last week a Toyota driver passed me. A built-up Troopy, like a real cool overlander Troopy, and the guy looked so pissed. I mean, why do you look pissed? Driving around in a super cool Toyota, looking at a Land Rover.
We have a lot more fun because we got the better problems to deal with. Okay?
Exactly.
That's also why the Toyota drivers watch our channel, and they usually write happy comments to us that this is so funny and so on. We do really appreciate Toyota drivers looking our channel because they can't really find an entertaining Toyota driver channel on YouTube. From the minute I see a Toyota in the video, I know this will be a boring video. And at least one time it will make coffee, or at least one time it will say, oh, the vehicle is so reliable, and things like that. Nobody wants to hear that a vehicle is all reliable when I watch a car repair channel.
Christian didn't mention, we did see some crusty stuff on my EGR cool. That's why we think it's broken.
The first thing I checked, of course, is if my coolant housing here is leaking. And it's not, like I said, it's new. And there I already saw a crusty buildup here on the side. You see that white deposit? I suspect this to be coolant and it's evaporating. So I checked the other side, of course, as well, and I do not find the white deposit. Here we got the EGR valve cooler. That's the thing we got to replace. If you look at this component, I'm completely amazed by this. This is state-of-the-art manufacturing technology. It's completely made out of stainless steel. It's laser welded. It got machined components. It got stamped components, laser cut components. And I can buy this OEM from Land Rover for a 18-year-old car for only 154 euros. And it's amazing that this part actually lasted 18 years in this vehicle. Now, I bet there are many cars out there, okay, which are considered reliable, which already broke 2 of these, and they still considered reliable. Why? Because the part sits right here, okay, and it got 1 bolt and 1 thumb screw where you can take the thing out like in 2 minutes, throw it away, put the new one and put it back in. Nobody will ever lose a word. And this is why these cars are considered unreliable. Not because they break or fail, because they're difficult to repair. And they're difficult to repair because people do not provide access to the problem, and they do not have the right tool. And the right tool is also the skill set, okay? Yeah. And the correct assistant. If you don't have the correct assistant, you don't want to do anything like that. Then the work is no fun. All this is really important to repair these cars successfully and drive them with a smile in your face. Where actually I saw a lot of people driving these and the thing is smoking and rattling and limping and they still have a smile on their face.
Joachim.
The Toyota drivers, you know, they remind me of e-bikers. Did you ever notice when you drive around with your mountain bike in the woods and uphill and then they come against you or they have to pass you? They always look kind of like embarrassed, like, geez, I'm driving an e-bike.
And they never greet.
Don't take me wrong. I do respect if somebody wants to drive a trouble-free vehicle, okay? But I do not respect if that goes along immediately with the message, Land Rovers suck because they're unreliable, because that is not true. So I apologize for my long lecture. You clicked on this video because you wanted hopefully to see how we replace an EGR valve cooler. And trust me, even if I lectured now forever, it will be a difficult repair and I will cut out all the swearing. When I say, oh, this is going to be a difficult job, then the first response from Vera is, oh, are we going to take the body off?
Yes, I'm already hungry again. You talked so much.
Sorry, we have to interrupt the video to drink coffee real quick. The lecture you just watched actually took an hour and a half to record. That's how much bad stuff I had to cut out. And now we're actually going to start the repair. If we don't gain access, we're wasting our time.
You got a Knipex?
It's called Knipex. You pronounce the K, not Nipex, like the Americans would say. I'm more German than you, so trust me, I'm right about that. Luckily, it's really easy to take the headlight out, and you may wonder why I'm taking it out. Because I need to reach through here to get to a certain bolt later on down. I caught her eating again. So raise it up a bit, because we have to drain a bit of the coolant, not much. That's good enough. So instead of take some of the coolant out. It's every time the same thing. I'm gonna get showered right in the beginning of the job.
We need to install a drain now.
Now the hoses are new. Okay. Oh. This is always very time consuming to clean up a mess like that.
So we dropped about half of the coolant, and it's, you can see it's brand new after our debacle in the Western Alps last fall.
Disconnecting the battery here real quick to avoid desktop mechanic comments. Providing access. Okay, this thing gotta go. This thing gotta go. Oops.
Don't drop it.
Thank you. Now.
So would you say that is a beginner-friendly repair?
If this is the first job after you bought your 410,000 mile Discovery, well, yeah, you have a bad hair day. Taking out this noise cancellation mat here. If you leave a part away every time you do a repair, suddenly your car is gonna have less components than a Toyota.
Oh my God.
I got some Loctite on these bolts, and now I hate myself for myself. And no coolant. Now I gotta open this clip, and this morning there was a post on Facebook on how to open this clip. Are you sure you want to take that apart if you don't know how to get that clip open? Okay. They are selling these in new for only like 88,000 euros. Get yourself one of those. I gotta do it again for the camera, okay?
Yeah, because
it's like in a porn movie. Some things are hard to duplicate. Here, I gotta take out a few cables.
Yeah.
And I'm cutting tie wraps and stuff. So I want to put all this stuff back together. If you don't put them back on, it will cause secondary problems down the road. So the goal is to get this wiring harness now here out of the way for access.
When you do a job like that, you gotta have those tie wraps. Otherwise, you're not gonna get it back together again.
I'm gonna cut one more cable tie and disconnect here one more plug on the injector. If you look down here now, that looks accessible. You gotta agree. You don't have to be a gynecologist. Okay. Removing the one thing the Discovery 4 lacks.
A dipstick.
Little bolts like this for heat shields and stuff can give you a really hard time. So the best thing is when you get your Discovery with 410,000 miles on it, take it apart completely and put anti-seize on all bolts. As easy as that.
Get the one for aluminum with a brush, or the copper grease with a brush on.
Can you pay attention here?
Yes.
See, I can take that heat shield out now. Had 3 bolts.
Oh, you forgot to grease a bolt.
Second heat shield without much persuasion. 18 years old. These heat shields had to come out for this hose clamp here. No chance to open that up from the top.
He's opening that bolt through the wheel arch. You see here?
And I got the first bolt out just by giving me the correct access. And I only had to cut out 45 minutes of swearing until now. Relocate the coolant tank is what Land Rover calls that. It's only 2 bolts. And then I got in my extension here. So this is not really a hard bolt, okay? It just takes a couple of anti-Toyota tools.
Got it latched on the magnet.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I got it. There's the bolt. The important thing is that I remember the disassembly order.
On the day you buy your Land Rover Discovery 3 with 410,000 miles, you also order the Haynes Owner's Workshop Manual.
So now I can get to this one here.
Oh
you can see that?
It's a ratchety wrench.
That's what it is. That's what I meant, okay? That bolt will probably take me like 5 minutes and a little bit of sweat.
Oh, I can eat something
But
in the meantime.
it's definitely doable. So there's this bolt out. So I got the last bolt out, but that one cannot be removed with the EGR valve in position. So I relocate the EGR valve to get to this last bolt.
Oh.
And then I can take the cooler out.
And what are we going to do if the cooler is not the problem?
With this bracket being able to relocate a little bit, I can get to the mounting bolt from the EGR valve cooler.
We're never ever gonna get that car back together.
That back in. We're gonna have to use an additional hand. I got this bracket out. You don't think about how you get it back together.
No.
Getting this hose clamp off here. You can see that. We're just gonna do this one as well right away.
Yeah, that one has never been opened before.
I'm gonna try to pull off this hose now. That's good enough. There we go.
Yes. It's difficult to film. It looks like it's a body off job almost.
Yeah.
So the plan is to separate the EGR valve from the cooler.
So one more tricky bolt, almost out.
Yeah.
There it is. Now I can take the EGR valve out, which is for most people half of the job, okay, because they're only replacing this piece. This hose clamp, see, I turned it around for access. Now I open up this hose clamp here, not destroying anything here.
I'm still filming.
Yeah. And there it is.
That was a lot of work.
We got it out.
And let's see if it's broken. So we dropped the EGR bolt and we can't find it. Oh.
It's not there.
Oh, shit. Und it.
Where? This is so mean. And you know what? That's not the one we're looking for.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, then what else did you do?
Okay, what is it now?
I got it.
So the bolt we found wasn't the bolt we were looking for, okay? Which did not really make Vera gain confidence in my ability to work on this car. We have now an additional bolt, okay? We are one bolt heavy.
But we would have never ever found it.
Remember, guys, this is not a space shuttle. If you find an additional bolt, world's not gonna end. Check this out here. I got like a little bit more than 10 psi. I got the EGR cooler in here and it's not leaking. But do you see, when you look closely, do you see that each of the through pipes have an air bubble latched in? Do you see that? When I rattle it now, that air is gonna come out. Watch it. If I wait now another half a minute with air pressure applied, it will again accumulate such an air bubble. So it is a really small leak. And Vera doesn't believe me that this is the leak. So I need help from the 5-star desktop mechanics. Can you let Vera know that this little bit of an air leak can cause our problem under high temperature, okay? We have here cold water. And I have the theory that when this thing is hot, that this gap where it leaks out is expanding, and then we do have a small coolant leak. The vehicle loses about 0.3 liters in 1,000 kilometers, so not a lot, but it never lost coolant before, so there gotta be a leak.
0.3 liters is too much.
I'm applying for an honest opinion from the 5-star desktop mechanics. No 4 stars, okay? Unfortunately, this is a 5-star question. This is not oil, okay? This is
soot.
This is soot. There's nothing dangerous when I pour this water into the drain now. Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and it's definitely now accumulating quicker with warm water. So this is about, I don't know, 42 degrees, I think, is our water out of the faucet when it's full temp. Again, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody heard it. She said, yeah. That's German for, okay, you are right, my dear husband. Okay?
I found the bolt.
A Toyota would have run with this leak another 410,000 kilometers.
Yeah, exactly.
We cannot tolerate a 300 milliliters coolant loss every 1,000 kilometers. Not possible. Oh, that is so satisfying now. King Christian found the leak, even if there isn't one.
But now I'm stressed where that other bolt is coming from.
Well, when I reassembled the vehicle, when it was still in the garage, it made drop. And then I just grabbed a new one and put it in, and I said, hopefully Vera is never gonna find that bolt when we work on the car.
You did.
And we can start the reassembly.
Oh my God.
So we are replacing the rear clamp of the EGR cooler with a new one here. So we typically have 2 of those on stock from Land Rover. That's more than a Toyota driver has on stock in a 10-year vehicle operation.
Good.
So it's important that I keep the order of disassembly now as an order for reassembly. Dipstick is the problem.
Dipstick is a problem.
Oh, I took out the dipstick out of the receiver. I don't know where that is. I think it's above the oil level.
Oh my God.
The hose clamp is on. That was already a tough one.
Do you want to show?
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
If you ever need to get to your camshaft position sensor, it's right here, okay? So it's the same repair. Think about how easy Land Rover made that for you.
So it's not the next day.
Got me a new shirt, okay? It also fits this engine, this Ford engine, because it's kinda tough. Only snaps a crank once in a while.
Only on the Discovery 4. I missed the click.
Okay.
It clicked. It was a beautiful click.
Here.
So all clean?
Yes, now what is important is that this bolt is in there when I stick it in. I do have a new gasket here. I used a chooser because Land Rover had lead time on them.
So I ordered the liquid moly grease.
Yeah, because the BMW guy out of Frankfurt used it, okay?
Yes.
He always got the products like one step better than we do.
Brake paste here, where the pistons go, and then a bit here on the sliding surface.
Oh my God, look at that. That has to be in here. That has to be greased and...
See, I can turn it. The bolt is in. I'm gonna insert this bolt now here.
So yeah, you can clearly see that the gasket is sitting properly. The bolt goes back in. We only dropped it like 3 times.
Okay, that was generous of you. I'm gonna give it a little bit more because it's a steel bolt in a stainless steel thread.
Built kinda tough.
Okay. Oh, this is so tough, man. And did you notice that it snapped exactly on the right spot? Kinda tough. Gotta get this clamp on here again. And done.
Yeah.
Annoying piece back in place. Okay, that's looking good. So anti-seize instead of Loctite. The EGR pipe goes back in. Oh, a little closer.
It's stuck. In here it goes.
So hopefully
Oh
it
my
doesn't
God.
drop. And that's it. Mounting a new one.
Final steps.
Click, click. Let's not forget this clip here.
Oh yes, most important.
Ah, that was a nice click.
Yes, I heard it. Let's see what he dropped in here. Oh my God.
Just a few tie wraps. They're gonna
Yes.
sit on the exhaust and give you a good new vehicle smell in the car.
Oh my God.
Okay, this thing gotta be fumbled back in here. If you wiggle it and you wiggle it, it will go in.
Oh God.
And the second one gets puzzled in place. It fits back in place.
Good.
Click, click. Click, click. You know, it reminds you every morning when you get your coffee that Land Rover recommends 5W dumbass. So the coolant reservoir goes back in place.
Good. No, that one's still loose.
That one just gets like this.
Good.
This piece gotta be puzzled in off camera because it usually annoys me. Good. Click, click. Forgot your air conditioning. That would not be good.
Oh my God.
And one more extremely annoying plastic piece. The compressor gotta go back in. And click, 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 click. Click, click.
So battery power is back on. Good.
Make sure your poles are good, okay? Or you're gonna get all kinds of faults.
Did you drop something again? Sounded like.
Well, there is a bolt loose on your ABS compressor here.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's not important.
You better fix that now.
Oh, this one is too long. It's just a piece of rubber. And it was a stop nut, okay? It was efficiently tightened. Better now?
Yes.
Can we go into the pool now? This gotta go back in place. There.
Oh.
Zack.
We still have that bolt left over.
That's out of a different era, okay? Removing the 5W dumbass cap. Compare the 5W dumbass cap with my coffee in the morning. Oh, she requested an orange tie wrap for this, okay? And the second one, I've chosen a yellow tie wrap, okay? There we go. This
Best idea I ever had is buy colorful tie wraps.
And we got rain, so we're
Oh
gonna
my God.
have to
I'm gonna go underneath.
this. And now we're pulling a vacuum here. But I'm kind of tough. We can already turn this off. And now it's drawing this in, and you can see the vacuum drop, okay? So this Chinese
Slide.
device is really nice. It was 68 euros. You get like 95% of your coolant in one sweep.
You see the vacuum slightly dropping.
And there's still a little bit of fluid, so it's gonna work just nice.
Yeah.
Turn this one off here.
Yeah, that was a good investment.
Yeah, if anybody has a drain valve for the Discovery, let me know. That's a small funnel. And look who already had to get a coat. What?
Well, at least we are underneath the car. And we still have that one over.
I told you that's out of a different era, okay? That's when Yuri Gagarin went into space the first time. That's when I dropped this bolt. Or it was when Chuck Yeager went the first time with ultrasonic speed. Maybe I dropped it when Neil Armstrong said, "One big step for man, one giant leap for mankind."
One more.
Now I'm done.
I'm done too. Oh my God, the startup is so incredible. If you've seen the last video. Air suspension is coming. Beautiful.
288,006 kilometers. It's such a beautiful engine. Do the one-hand touch after the battery was off. Dut-dut. Dut-dut. Hello, baby! Okay, so we got no leaks, the car got temperature, everything looks fine, and now it's ready to go on to our vacation. We're probably gonna drive over to Slovenia and then down to Croatia, and maybe we do a couple of tracks in Italy on our way there. Take that, Cold Sprung Discovery Group. So they're leaving now. They got about 45 minutes to get home. Bye, Igor. Bye. We will stay up here. So Igor said it's okay to camp next to the helicopter landing platform anywhere up here. You know, I didn't park on this one because I was afraid if some helicopter wants to land and check out the old nuclear blast bunker up there, then, you know, we would look kind of stupid. So what a beautiful area we are here in the mountains above Rijeka, and it was like an extremely long track to get here. We drove about 50 kilometers through the forest. We did not see any other cars except then the group of Land Rover drivers, and we had a good dinner with them and a lot of fun, and I learned a lot from them. Oh, yes. Okay? Yeah. And at that point we want to thank our Patreons a lot for their support, and
we'll see you next Sunday. So we had this pool for 15 years now.
And it's still the first motor.
Yes, it's still the first motor.
Yeah, it's kind of tough.